Most people wander into the territory of spiritual exploration completely naked. They build businesses, accumulate material wealth, and expand their social influence while leaving their energetic perimeters entirely open to the environment. They live under the dangerous modern illusion that clean intentions and a high bank account are enough to repel the silent, predatory currents of human malice, envy, and systemic drain that we dismantled in our previous broadcast on the mechanics of spite. When their lives inevitably begin to curdle, when unexplainable fatigue sets in, when critical contracts rot at the finish line, and when a heavy, suffocating despair settles over their homes, they run to the crystal market looking for a miracle. They buy beautiful, transparent stones, hoping for a gentle, comforting blessing. But they do not understand that you cannot install delicate decorations on a fortress that is currently under heavy artillery fire. Before you can build, before you can manifest, and before you can run high-voltage currents through an antenna like rutilated quartz, you must secure the perimeter. You must clear the ground. This is where we encounter tourmaline. Tourmaline is not a gentle crystal of comfort. It is a dense, multi-layered, and extraordinarily complex mineral infrastructure. It is the heavy artillery and the structural iron of the energetic world. In this comprehensive strategic audit, we are going to strip away the shallow folklore and perform a ruthless, deep dive analysis of this unique crystalline architecture. We will deconstruct its varied spectral frequencies, from the absolute zero of Schorl to the high-velocity currents of Paraiba. We will break down its precise impact on the human nervous system, its operational constraints, the terrifying dangers of its misuse, and the exact protocols required to employ this heavy machinery safely. If you are an independent mind ready to move past spiritual sentimentality and master the cold, structured laws of reality management, take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel and leave a solid like on this broadcast. This episode is a non-severable pillar of our sequential reality management blueprint. If you are operating without the defensive infrastructure we are establishing today, your foundations are structurally compromised. Subscribe, anchor your awareness, and let us analyze the heavy shield. To understand why tourmaline behaves with such raw, unyielding authority in your personal field, we must evaluate its core internal mechanics. Tourmaline possesses a rare, highly specific structural characteristic. It is both pyroelectric and piezoelectric. When this mineral is subjected to even minor changes in temperature, or when it experiences physical pressure, friction, or environmental stress, its internal crystalline lattice undergoes a profound transformation. It polarizes. One end of the stone accumulates a positive electrical charge, while the opposing end accumulates a negative charge. It becomes a literal, living, energetic battery. It generates a measurable, localized electromagnetic field. In the space of esoteric architecture, this means tourmaline does not act as a passive ornament that merely deflects energy. It behaves as an active, mechanical filtering station. It is a living ground wire for your nervous system. When a chaotic, low-frequency wave of envy, anger, or intentional malice enters your immediate environment, the tourmaline lattice catches the vibration, subjects it to internal crystalline pressure, and converts that destructive emotional frequency into a neutral, grounded current. It behaves exactly like an industrial lightning rod installed on a skyscraper. It does not ask the storm for permission. It simply absorbs the strike and buries it into the earth. Let us begin our autopsy of the specific variants with the foundation of the entire tourmaline architecture, Schorl, or pure black tourmaline. This is the iron core of energy hygiene. Schorl contains a massive concentration of iron and magnesium, making its physical and energetic weight incredibly dense. It does not possess the transparent beauty of jewelry. It is a rich, midnight black, often covered in deep, parallel structural ridges that run along its body like industrial cooling fins. Schorl operates on the frequency of absolute zero. It is a total energetic vacuum for negativity, but unlike obsidian, which forces a brutal internal mirror confrontation with your own subconscious shadow, Black tourmaline looks exclusively outward. It does not care about your psychological basement. Its sole directive is to maintain the perimeter wall against external contamination. When you introduce Schorl into an environment polluted by toxic corporate warfare, domestic resentment, or the predatory siphons of energetic vampirism, it immediately establishes a dead zone. It creates a heavy, impenetrable shield around your personal field. The incoming arrows of malice do not bounce off, they are pulled into the parallel grooves of the stone, dragged down into its dense iron matrix, and completely neutralized. It is the ultimate asset for the leader who must enter hostile negotiation rooms, competitive markets, or toxic environments without allowing the local contamination to touch their emotional baseline. But hear me clearly. In the laws of architecture, every heavy wall caps your expansion. There is a deep, dramatic danger to the misuse of black tourmaline that no superficial guru will ever warn you about, and it is a trap that has broken many ambitious men. Because Schorl is incredibly effective at blocking external frequencies, it does not discriminate between a hostile attack and an organic opportunity. It is a blind, heavy iron door. If you wear black tourmaline constantly, week after week, out of a state of unmanaged fear and paranoia, you will successfully block all negativity. But you will also systematically block the subtle, high-frequency currents of human connection, synchronicity, serendipity, and financial flow. You will enter a state of absolute artificial isolation. The world will stop attacking you, but it will also stop seeing you. Your business partners will forget to call you. Your clients will feel a cold, unapproachable barrier around you and walk away, and a heavy gray cloud of existential loneliness will settle over your mind. You will find yourself locked inside a flawless, impenetrable fortress of your own making, completely safe from enemies, yet slowly suffocating to death from a total lack of fresh energy. Paranoia leads to fortification, and over-fortification leads to the despair of the cage. When we step away from the black walls of Schorl and move into the transparent color spectrum of tourmaline, the infrastructure shifts from defense to intense internal regulation. The most prominent among these is Rubellite, the deep pink to vibrant red tourmaline. Rubellite is an extraordinary high-integrity asset that contains manganese inclusions. This spectral frequency targets the heart center, but it does not operate on the soft, passive frequency of ordinary rose quartz. Rubellite is the architecture of the flaming heart. It represents courageous, sovereign, emotional vitality. Most people who have suffered severe emotional trauma, betrayal in business, or the agonizing collapse of a primary relationship build a thick, dead wall of resentment around their chests to prevent further pain. They become cold, cynical, and operationally numb. Rubellite is designed to dismantle that dead wall without leaving you vulnerable. It injects a high-velocity, warm, and highly resilient current into the heart center, healing the old structural scars of heartbreak while simultaneously amplifying your personal magnetism. It restores the courage to dominate your field, to love fiercely, and to project absolute charisma into your networks, turning a wounded victim back into an inspiring, sovereign commander. Directly complementing the red current is Verdelite, the rich green tourmaline. If Rubellite is the emotional fire, Verdelite is the mechanical engine of your creative and physical manifestation. Green tourmaline is intensely aligned with the frequency of organic growth, physical stamina, and material abundance. It works directly with your vitality centers, acts as a profound regulator of the endocrine system, and clears the channels through which your creative ideas are translated into physical, profitable structures. When you carry Verdelite, it acts as a constant stabilizer during high-stress corporate scaling. It mutes the frequency of panic, lowers systemic anxiety, and allows you to view market volatility not as a crisis, but as an organic ecosystem requiring strategic pruning. It builds an internal buffer of profound physical endurance, allowing an executive or a creator to run high-voltage creative code through their brain for extended periods without blowing their physical fuses. It is the stone of sustainable, long-term expansion and professional synergy. At the pinnacle of the Tourmaline hierarchy, we find the rarest, most expensive, and structurally complex variants, indicolite blue tourmaline and the legendary neon-bright Paraiba tourmaline, copper-bearing stones of immense financial value and energetic velocity. These elite blue codes operate almost exclusively on the upper mental centers, the throat, the third eye, and the higher crown. Indicolite is the frequency of the master orator and the uncompromised diplomat. It instills a deep, oceanic stillness in the throat center, allowing you to articulate complex, high-stakes strategies with absolute, icy precision, completely removing emotional tremors from your voice during critical negotiations. Paraiba tourmaline, flashing with an almost unnatural neon turquoise light, is an incredibly rare, hyperconductive asset. It acts as a direct link to the higher strata of informational fields. It is the stone of sudden, revolutionary insight, profound technological foresight, and structural genius. It doesn't just protect your mind, it accelerates your cognitive processing speed, allowing you to see the chess moves of your industry 3 years before your competitors have even bought the board. It is a premium asset for the elite architect, but its high-velocity voltage requires an absolutely pristine, grounded nervous system to handle safely. Let us examine a profound, real-world case of structural misuse from my private archive to understand the exact mechanics of over-fortification. A 46-year-old venture capitalist came to me in a state of absolute frozen despair. 6 months prior, his firm had been hit by a coordinated, malicious smear campaign from a bitter competitor, combined with intense, envious attacks from former partners who wanted to see his fund collapse. Feeling the immense pressure and a sudden drop in his vitality, he panicked. He went out and purchased several massive, rough chunks of black tourmaline, Schorl. He placed 2 large blocks at the entrance of his private office, another next to his bed, and began wearing a heavy black tourmaline bead bracelet on his left wrist 24 hours a day. Initially, the defense worked flawlessly. The incoming psychological attacks ceased to affect him. The emotional noise from his competitors dropped to zero. He felt an immediate, solid peace. But he didn't stop. He left the heavy machinery running indefinitely. Within 90 days, the price of absolute isolation became due. The iron walls of the Schorl had completely sealed his personal field. His fund's operational deal flow ground to a sudden, inexplicable halt. New founders stopped pitching to his firm. His emails went unanswered. His long-term investment allies began executing major deals without inviting his capital, later stating they simply forgot to include him. He became an energetic ghost. He fell into a deep, clinical lethargy, waking up every morning with a profound sense of meaningless gray boredom, locked inside an iron cage of safety. He had built a fortress so secure that even his own wealth and life opportunities could no longer find the door. The intervention required an immediate tactical shutdown of the defensive grid. We stripped the black tourmaline from his wrist and his office, replacing it with a high-purity Verdelite asset to re-engage his material engine, and executed a profound cleansing protocol to break the stagnation of his field. Within weeks, the isolation melted, his network reconnected, and his firm closed a major acquisition. He survived the cage, but he walked away with a deep respect for the laws of balance. To handle heavy, energetic machinery like tourmaline without short-circuiting your life or locking yourself in a tomb, you must execute the architect's strict protocol with discipline. First, black tourmaline is a tactical tool, not an everyday fashion accessory. You do not wear Schorl to a celebratory dinner, a creative brainstorming session, or a romantic encounter. You deploy black tourmaline exclusively when you are entering a known high-stress battlefield, a hostile courtroom, a toxic corporate restructuring meeting, a crowded public space, or when you are actively clearing a space from a previous psychic attack. Once the battle is over, you remove the stone immediately. Do not leave the defensive grid running during peacetime. Second, utilize spatial placement instead of personal saturation. Instead of carrying the weight of Schorl on your physical body all day, place raw black tourmaline blocks at the perimeter boundaries of your property, near the front door or in the corners of your office room. This allows the stones to intercept and ground incoming low-frequency noise before it crosses your threshold, while leaving your personal field open, light, and free to project charisma and attract financial flow. Third, execute rigorous cleansing protocols, because tourmaline acts as a physical ground wire that catches and stores dense emotional garbage. Its crystalline lattice can become saturated and heavily congested. If you do not clean the lightning rod, it will eventually stop absorbing the strikes. Cleanse your tourmaline assets at least once a week under cold running water for 10 minutes, or bury them in dry, coarse salt for 24 hours to discharge the accumulated payload. There is no room for fear in the space of reality management, and there is no room for naive ignorance. The world around you is an active, competitive ecosystem filled with conflicting agendas, hidden malice, and energetic currents that will gladly dismantle your structures if you leave your perimeter undefended. But true authority does not come from hiding behind a massive black wall forever, trembling at the thought of external attacks. True sovereignty comes from knowing exactly when to raise the heavy iron shield to weather the storm, and exactly when to lower it to conquer your market, build your empire, and project your magnificent creative light into the world. You are the architect of your fortress. Ensure you know how to operate the machinery. Our sequential reality blueprint on @esoteric.architect is a fully integrated foundation. Do not attempt to run high-voltage manifestation assets like rutilated quartz until you have fully secured your ground with the Tourmaline protocols we have established today. Take a moment right now to share this video with a sovereign mind who is tired of superficial spiritual cliches. Post this broadcast into your private channels. Share your own experiences with energetic isolation in the comments below, and verify that your subscription is locked into our central network. Keep your focus clean. Manage your perimeter with iron discipline. And I will see you in our next deep architectural audit. Stay sharp